Back, everybody, to ISF 2014 for the Hearthstone World Championships, the sixth one of its kind. We're here in Baku, Azerbaijan. We're welcoming anybody who's new to the stream to our second match of the day. It's Finland versus Russia. Specifically, we have Vampi from Finland versus Nazgul from Russia.
That's right. This match, I don't know a lot about Nazgul, actually. I haven't heard of him before, but Wampi, definitely a player that I've seen. I've definitely played against him a little bit in the past. A strong player, for sure.
Threw me for a loop because I know Nazgul from Team Liquid also enjoys Hearthstone. He plays in his free time. I was like, what, Victor, is that you? But no, because he's from Holland, I believe, and that would have been a very big surprise and shock.
Yes, that is a fact. That would be really weird if he was representing Russia here in Hearthstone. So I think that the internet would have told us about that already. But let's talk about these classes these guys are using for a moment. Okay, first off, both of them chose Warlock and both of them banned Warlock. That's something that we're going to see a lot today, most likely.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really don't like guessing wrong against Warlock in a best of three. If it's Handlock or Zoo and you make an incorrect assumption, that can cost you a series. But that also leaves other powerful classes like Hunter, which is available to both. Yeah. And we do see the Druid and Priest for Vampi versus Nazgul has Rogue and Shaman.
Now, we've been talking about this a little bit. My opinion definitely is that Nazgul should be starting with Hunter. I feel like it's a solid pick against every class Wampi has. And the thing is, I think the Shaman, it gets a little bit weak sometimes against Hunter. It does okay against the Druid, but you definitely don't want it against this Priest. Whereas the Hunter is probably going to be countered by the Priest, I would guess. But he's got a Rogue to kind of counter that. So I'm feeling Hunter start for Nazgul.
Yeah, I think Wampi also has a really strong Hunter lead versus whatever Nazgul do. As much as Miracle Rogue used to have a really good advantage over the Hunter, it just feels like how fast you can start with Undertaker almost dictates. It's like whether or not you have backstab or a way to kill off the Undertaker.
Yeah. And
not to mention that a lot of times Rogue uses its own health resource to take out things like Leper Gnome. So it's like it's doing 4 damage instead of 2 or 3. It's a lot of pain coming your way. So I feel like Hunter versus Rogue is great. Hunter versus Shaman, of course, can always go towards the Hunter's way. And then the mirror matchup is always, it's a lot of times a coin flip. It's just how it is.
Yeah. It's kind of the nature of the beast. Right. But we'll see what they open up with. Of course, Druid is sometimes a good opener. If Nazgul opens Shaman, I don't think that's terrible.
That would really surprise me, though, because Shaman against this lineup can
little
really
bit
backfire,
off.
especially because you know that your opponent's going to pick Priest. The only reason that I'd be okay with Shaman is if you know your opponent isn't going to lead off with Priest, so that way you force him to pick Priest and Shaman, so that for game 3 you have a favorable matchup with Rogue versus Priest.
Yeah, the thing is, I think he can say for sure Wampi won't open with Priest because Hunter and Druid are there, and those are both really good leads. And Priest is such a strong counter to Shaman that if he can win one game, he gets this insane counter if his opponent uses Shaman. So, I think he could do that, but I'm staying with the Hunter. I think the Hunter is a smart one for Nazgul here.
Damn, we're wrong on both accounts. Neither of these players are starting Hunter. Instead, we see Rogue versus Priest. And this is, I think, a position that Nazgul wanted to end the series, but he's going to start off with it. And now if he kills off this Priest, imagine how strong his Shaman deck will be.
Wow, this is exactly what I thought would not be the way that this went down.
Funny how that works, huh?
It was exactly my third picks for both of them. Do you think this is mind games, or are they just kind of disagree?
I think so. Okay. It definitely comes into play with best of 3. You're trying to guess correctly. It's just a rock, paper, scissors wheel sometimes where if you guess wrong, you can be in a bad position. That's where you often see players going for safe picks like Druid to start things off, which is also another surprising thing because I felt like if Wampi didn't want to play Hunter, I felt like Druid was also a decent choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Druid is a great starting class, but both these guys kind of mind game each other, and Nazgul definitely wins on that because Miracle generally beats Priest. We did see a few. I don't know what happened at BlizzCon at the actual BlizzCon for Hearthstone because I was over at the StarCraft stage, but I do know that at the Burbank studio for the week leading up to BlizzCon, we saw some Miracles get beaten by Priest, but it was specifically Violet Teacher Miracles, and the draws just kind of went towards the Priest in those matchups.
Even against it, we also saw, at BlizzCon, Violet Teachers being able to take out the Priest just because if they didn't have the perfect lineup of clears and defensive, like Lotheb against Gadgets and Auctioneer, Like, look, he just had to pass on turn 2. This is so much setup time.
Yeah.
For Nazgul. Like, he's going to have a lot of playing time. Azure Drake is probably one of the better draws he could have picked up if he didn't get his Gadgetzan Auctioneer. As long as he's drawing cards and putting out 4 attack minions, I don't think he can be complaining about anything.
No, certainly not. Well, this turn it does look like he'll be able to go ahead, throw down this injured Blade Master. Was saving it to coin with the Power Word Shield as quickly as possible. Get a lot of health on there because, well, you don't want the Rogue to be able to get rid of it easily.
Yeah, I think that's a higher priority. I think you're okay with it getting sapped, too, ultimately, because you have Sludge Belcher. And it's good that you get out these cards like Cabal Shadow Priest drawn out of the way, but you definitely want to be looking for more useful cards than that.
Certainly going to be one of the weaker cards here.
Oh.
Well, he does get the sap.
Yeah, and he doesn't have an easy way to deal with the Injured Blade Master otherwise.
No, he certainly doesn't. There's like he can't deal with it otherwise.
But
do you want a sap here, though?
No, I think playing Violet Teacher sometimes on the board is okay because it's still damage on the Injured Blade Master. Sap is really useful against some of the cards that Priest might have, especially if they have Sylvanas or Sludge Belcher, like really expensive slow cards.
Well, he does go ahead and play the Violet Teacher. I think that is a very good play there. Whoa.
Okay.
Okay. You will make a couple tokens with it
right.
at least, but he's using up some valuable resources in his hand.
Yeah, you trade, prep for essentially 2 1/1s right here because the sap could have been negative otherwise. And that damage doesn't feel like a lot, but this deck is so reliant upon making sure that minions get damage that preparation being traded in might actually be a key for Nazgul to win the game. It might not look like that, but keep in mind this damage will stack.
That's a very good point there for you. Now, he does go ahead and drop Injured Blade Master once again. Just a very small nitpicky thing. He actually dropped the other one that was in his hand.
Whoa.
So if Nazgul was tracking his hand, that is a bit of a misplay. It tells him one more card that his opponent has.
This is such a juicy ability. Like, if you get for, like, Cold Bloods and Conceals, but I think Azure Drake is too good to pass up, right?
Yeah. Well, it looks like he'll go ahead and remove this Injured Blade Master. Can't blame him for that whatsoever, and can start getting some damage going.
I mean, he can get a lot of damage going. He's got 2 Conceals. So if your opponent has proven that he can't deal with this, like, with these creatures, how YOLO do you go?
Oh, I guess you have to go all the way YOLO. It's
especially if you don't have Gadgetzan. But if he picks up Gadgetzan on the next card.
Yeah, if he picks up Gadgetzan right away, it's fantastic. But, like, so far from Whompy, he's just not put up too much of a fight.
Well, let's see. He's got Backstab, SI7 Agent, a push, and then you put Cold Blood on the Violet Teacher, right? And then you put damage onto your Azure Drake, so that way an Arcanized Soul Priest can't clear it past the
sure. If that's the way you want to go with this, absolutely.
This is going to be absolutely nasty.
It certainly is. Well, let's see him. He is definitely going to go for this SI7, but his board does get a little bit weaker.
And that's fine.
You think there's any chance to use the Blade Fury here? He's already shown that he's very willing to use the cards in his hand.
That's also true, but I like getting the damage in now and then concealing.
Whoa, that would be surprising.
I don't think it's worth getting green for that 1 extra damage here. Oh, but you put yourself within range of Arcanized Soul Priest.
Yeah, Arcanized Circle suddenly brings Whompy right back into the game, so maybe like a little bit greedy here, the way that he did this, pushing for that 1 extra damage. But guess what? If there's no Arcanine drawn, that is sick
he's still in a really good spot. I mean, this is how the Violet Teacher gets a lot of damage in because she has a lot of health, she's resilient, and there is no Arcanine clear.
Oh, man, Frodan. This is this is bad news right now.
And if you're going to rap, you should have told me so I could lay down the beat.
I'll let you know next time.
All right. Can you even thought steal anything here to help you?
Yeah, like, well, fan of knives. Like, what are you looking for? Seriously.
This is best bet to play 2 minions. He's staring at 12 damage next turn.
Oh, man, his best bet is to start figuring out what the next deck is going to be because this is like a sick board right now for Nazgul. Look at that. It's 12 damage, 13 damage on board. That's so scary.
Right, we know there's a cold blood. I think this Thought Steal couldn't even really pull him out of anything.
No.
Because everything's too expensive for him that's relevant.
God, he needed an Akanai this turn. That was his one real chance. And Akanai actually brings him right back into the game. Like, he might just straight up win with an Akanai.
But does he use his Circle of Healing? He heals up the Violet Teacher.
Wow. Well, let's see what this rogue can do. Oh, it's time for a Miracle Frodan.
That is just like the best draw you could ask for. Nazgul now can draw cards while doing damage, or even clear the board. Like, you just attach the Cold Blood onto the SS7 agent, and then you conceal. And then you laugh. You peer over the monitor and stare at your opponent and grin.
Oh, man. I think what you're doing here is you're definitely going to peer over the monitor and grin.
Yeah.
That's part of the move with the Gajazon on this turn.
He actually can clear with Blade Flurry as well. And save his Cold Blood.
Would you clear here, though? Like,
oh, no, but you want to conceal.
I would definitely conceal. Right. But, like, I'm almost thinking Cold Blood on the Violet Teacher. Go to face with everything conceal, because even if he gets Akanai, you're totally fine because he healed this guy. Like, he can't die, and then you still have another 7 damage.
True. No, actually, when you put it that way, I think you're right. It's really effective to do it that way. I mean, he going for a clear at this point is missing damage if you have second conceal. Oh,
well,
all right.
He actually chooses to once again go ahead for the clear. I'm actually a little bit surprised. It was just front-loading this damage, like 7 more.
Oh, wow.
Okay, he could have done 11 more damage.
Wow.
So he could have brought him to 5 with a 7-attack minion no matter what being on the board. So that's, like, pretty hard to get out of as a priest.
I mean, if Priest clears now with the Akanai, but he already just used a Circle of Healing.
All right,
so
he needs to Thought Steal for a Fan of Knives right now.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to find some way to clear this damage. He's got a Gadget Sand, but only an Eviscerate, and that's not going to cut it. He's going to Thought Steal again, I think, just to
get info.
See what's in his deck. Absolutely.
That's what he's got to do. But looks like Nazgul, who did out mind game here and get that fantastic first match of Miracle against Priest, is going to be pretty happy.
Well, I mean, at this stage, Vombi didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It's like, oh, he does play second Gadget Sand.
And will prep himself. Yeah, he does play Gadget Sand. Oh my God, he does have a second prep and Eviscerates in his
2
deck.
Eviscerates even.
Wow, that's a lot of info right there. But all right, so Nazgul takes game number 1.